What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of The Lead Houston, where it's all Houston all the time. My name is Harley. You already know the Houston Texans. We saw earlier today that they have extended Derek Stingley Jr. 3 years, $90 million, $89 million of that guaranteed. Shout out to Derek Stingley. Shout out to All-Pro Sting. Getting that bag, obviously, his agent, David Mulugeta. So we all know Derek Stingley was going to get this money sooner or later. This was always the offseason for the Texans to get that deal done, and they got it done very fast. Nothing to worry about. All stress-free stuff when it comes to Derek Stingley's future with the Houston Texans. He's going to finish out his rookie contract and then 3 years on top of it. So altogether, you got him for 5 years on this contract. So, hey, it's fantastic to see. And again, he definitely deserves every single penny. And then the Texans also made a few other moves. They cut some fat, they trimmed the fat a little bit. They cut 3 guys, but they ended up signing 2 guys. Anybody saw my short from earlier? Ronald Darby. Ronald Darby was one of the signings the Houston Texans made today, and Darby was a 1 year, $2 million, something like that, $2 million deal, $2.5 million deal, I think it was, something like that, whatever. Ronald Darby, though, a very solid corner for this team, a solid addition, a veteran piece that is a lot better than Jeff Okudah. Very, very fortunate that Kamari Lassiter is that dude. You just locked up Sting, and you got the best 2 cornerback duo in the NFL right there. Ronald Darby now entering that. He could play a little nickel as well. Obviously, nobody really wants him to play nickel. You don't want to give him a whole bunch of snaps, but I still think he could get it done at a relatively decent level. Then they also brought in a fullback in Jacob Johnson. So Jacob Johnson has connections to Nick Caley right there. So who knows what happens at the fullback position. If anybody remembers, this guy named British Brooks was the talk around town during preseason, especially during training camp. From myself, I really pointed out that British Brooks looked different. He looked really good out there, and now he started getting snaps at fullback, and he did so as well in preseason against the Giants, where he had himself a very good game at the halfback position, formerly from the North Carolina Tar Heels. So now there should be a fullback position battle right there. British Brooks open with Jacob Johnson. Maybe Jacob Johnson has the leg up in the competition, considering he has that connection to Nick Caley because of the New England Patriots. But ultimately, guys, that's a quick recap on what's going on with the Houston Texans right now. The Texans, though, they got to be moving forward with the NFL draft. I do feel like, and again, this is according to Aaron Wilson, no big move is going to be happening for the Houston Texans. And I do wonder, because there's a tidbit on Aaron Wilson's video that I don't think nobody is talking about. And Aaron Wilson is never going to throw out an opinion out there with any sort of substantial evidence around it. Like, there is weight when it comes to Aaron Wilson's opinion. Aaron Wilson, a Texans insider, has his own YouTube channel. If anybody wants to check it out, man, I'll drop the link in the description below. But he talked about, and he's mentioned this a few times now, and nobody's caught on to it yet, talking about getting younger at the tight end position.
I want to get younger at tight end. I've said that a couple of times. Still hearing that they would like to get someone they can plan ahead for in the future. Not just having Kate Stover, Brevin Jordan, who was re-signed to this year for under a small contract, under $2 million.
And he said, and I quote, want to get younger at tight end, someone they could plan ahead for in the future. Now, he mentioned Kate Stover, he mentioned Brevin Jordan, but Dalton Schultz, not a guy named in video or in reference to the tight end group. Could the Houston Texans be looking at tight end in the top? They got 4 picks in the top 100 right there. Could they be looking at tight end? What happens if Colston Loveland falls to the Houston Texans at 25? What happens? Because now that is a very interesting idea, an interesting wrinkle. I understand the Houston Texans need to improve on the offensive line. Again, 4 picks in the top 100, you're going to improve on the O-line in some sort of fashion. I would even expect them to double dip within those top 100 guys right there in order to try to solidify the O-line to the best of their ability. What if the Houston Texans drafted somebody at 25? Do they draft somebody at 58? Do they see some value in another tight end that we're not talking about? Is it Elijah Arroyo from Miami? Is it Gunnar Helm from Texas? Is it the kid Harold Fannin Jr. from I believe it was Bowling Green State or something like that? There's plenty. Mason Taylor from LSU. There's plenty of tight ends. One of the more deeper positions in this draft, and the Houston Texans did meet with tight ends as well. As I get my notes here, and they met with 5 tight ends from the NFL Combine there after meeting with running back, wide receivers, and offensive guards, 8 of each of those positions. So the Houston Texans definitely are going to be doing their homework with the tight end position. Dropping a little tidbit like that from Aaron Wilson needs to be talked about a little bit more. Could the Houston Texans be looking at drafting someone at the tight end position at 25 or 58 or one of those other picks? Or could they be looking at trading for somebody? If anybody missed that video I dropped a few days, maybe a week ago now, Michael Mayer was an option and I believe is still an option for the Las Vegas Raiders. Michael Mayer, who was once a very much talked about prospect 2 years ago. Now y'all all know they drafted Brock Bowers, and Brock Bowers turned out to be an all-pro tight end in his rookie year. Absolutely different when it comes to the tight end position. But Michael Mayer wasn't chopped liver. He definitely is going to be somebody the Raiders are going to try to move on from. They don't view him as a tight end too. They're going to want him getting more snaps, and that's just not going to happen because of Brock Bowers. So the Houston Texans have themselves an opportunity to trade for a tight end, a very young one with a bright future in Michael Mayer. And it makes me wonder with the Houston Texans again, do they draft somebody? Do they trade for somebody? Michael Mayer is a very interesting prospect, again, from Notre Dame, one of the best tight ends to come from Notre Dame. And that's saying something considering Dave Casper, Tyler Eifert, Mason Rudolph are the other tight ends named from Notre Dame. Michael Mayer broke all the records there when it comes to the tight end career records there. So I am very interested to see what are the Houston Texans' approach with the tight end position, because Cade Stover and Brevin Jordan, and then you got Dalton Schultz. Those are 3 tight ends. Do they attack that position this year, or do they look onto it for next year? Or is there a surprise trade that we just don't know about, that nobody is talking about? Could the Houston Texans maybe be looking to offload Dalton Schultz? You'd save a lot of money by doing it in the process. You'd have to do it before June 1st, and the Houston Texans maybe are looking at something at tight end. It makes me wonder because, again, whenever Aaron Wilson says something, there's definitely weight to the opinion. And for them to talk about, for him, excuse me, to talk about the tight end position like he did, maybe the Houston Texans are looking at something that we're just not even talking about. Here we go, guys. Draft season, you never know what's going to happen. The Houston Texans, Nick Caserio, buckle up, folks. It's going to be a bumpy ride. As always, guys, go Astros, go Rockets, go Texans. You have a blessed day.